Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday. As you're popping in, let me know where you're watching from, where you're listening from. I am coming at you live, as always, from Denver, Colorado. Welcome back. Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from, where you're listening from. Because today we are going to be getting into all the things that I would do differently if I were starting my coaching business today. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. I see you on YouTube. All the things that I would do differently if I were starting my coaching business today, because there's a few. I'm only going to touch base on three today, but there's a lot of things that I would do differently. And the whole thing about this space that I'm in with my business and with Her Income Edit is I really truly just want to give women all of the advice that was never given to me. I don't want you to have to make the mistakes that I made. And as I continue to learn and grow and evolve in this thing, I will continue to give you insider tips and hacks and insights and just ideas and strategies so you can save time and money. I've made lots of mistakes. You've heard me say it before, and I just don't want you to make those mistakes. All right. As you are coming in, let me know where you're watching from, where you're listening from. Welcome back. It is Friday. We made it, y'all. That is something to celebrate. Friday is always a celebration day for me because in my business, I make it a point not really to work too much on the weekends. And so, after a long week of putting in so many hours and time and focus into my business, when Friday comes around, every single Friday is a celebration. So, yes, happy Friday. All right, y'all. The thing about all of this is I want I always want to tell you something that I wish someone had told me before I spent years learning them the hard way. And if I had to start my coaching business over from scratch today, there are a bunch of things, but today I want to talk specifically about three things that I do completely different. And these things I'm going to talk about, it isn't because what I did was exactly wrong, but it's because I learned some very expensive lessons very slowly when I didn't have to learn them the way that I did. And that is exactly what I'm going to be getting into today. So if you haven't already, go get your notebooks, your pens, whatever it is that you take notes on. Pop open a notes app on your iPhone, on your smartphone or your tablet, and share this episode with your biz bestie because this is going to save some of y'all a whole lot of time and a whole lot of money. Welcome back to Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott. I'm a business coach who helps women use their existing skills to build sustainable coaching income on the side without quitting their 9 to 5, without the hustle, without the burnout, without the overwhelm. And I'm also going to add without a huge audience and without paid ads. Happy Friday. I am getting ready to get into the three things that I do differently if I were starting today. Are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? I'm ready. So let's get into it. So, if you're taking notes, here's the first thing that I would do differently. And the very first thing that I would do differently is stop trying to build an audience before I had a single paying client. I would not build an audience before I had a client. And here's what I did when I first started in this space. I did what Lottie Dottie and everybody told me to do, and that was focus on content. I focused on audience growth. I focused on getting more people to know who I was before I had even figured out exactly what I was offering or even who I was offering it to. So if you have been listening or following online coaches in this space for any amount of time, you know that content creation and social media is a huge emphasis and a huge platform for a lot of how they teach. And I believed it. And that's what I did. I was on Instagram. I was literally, y'all, posting on Instagram 3 times a day. What? 3 times a day. Why was I doing it? Because that's what Lottie Dottie and everybody said you should be doing. Like, you have to stay top of mind. And I had a very efficient system for repurposing my content the same way that I do now. But the fact that I was posting on Instagram 3 times a day is crazy, y'all. It's crazy. So, um, yeah, I did that. I focused on the content. I focused on the audience growth. I focused on getting people to know who I was. I didn't even really have clarity on who I was serving or what it is that I was going to have to offer. And those actions, they produced a very specific result. I had a whole lot of people who knew me. I had a lot of followers who enjoyed my content the same as I do today. But I had very little income to show for it. Like, the ROI on that, it just didn't make sense because reach and revenue are not the same thing. If you are taking notes, please jot that down in your notebooks because this is important. Reach and revenue are not the same thing. Somebody drop revenue in the chat. If you're watching this on the replay, drop revenue in the comment section. And the thing is, I was spending all of my time building the thing that I was spending all of my time building was reach. And here's the thing nobody told me that I'm going to tell you. The fastest path to your first coaching client and your first coaching dollar, it is not an audience. Did y'all hear what I said? The fastest path to your first coaching income is not an audience. The fastest path is one conversation with one person who has one specific problem that you know how to solve. I'm talking about one person, y'all, not a thousand followers. I'm not talking about a viral post. I'm not talking about a perfectly optimized content strategy. I'm talking about one real human being sitting across from you, either on a screen or in real life, who's telling you about something they're struggling with that you have already figured out. Because the thing about it is that conversation right there, that conversation is worth more to your business in its first 90 days than 6 months of posting on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever your poison is. That conversation is worth more in your business than that. And I mean that literally, because that conversation with that one person, that real human, that's where everything starts. Your niche starts to become clear within that conversation. Your offer starts to get refined in that conversation. The language you use to describe what you do, it gets sharper in that conversation. And if you do this right, that conversation will end with your first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth paying client. Now, I want to be clear before someone in the comments comes for me. It usually happens in the replay. I'm not saying that content doesn't matter. Y'all know me. I have a marketing background. Content marketing is really my sweet spot. So I'm not minimizing content creation at all, because that's not what I'm saying. And I'm also not saying that you shouldn't build an audience, because that also matters. But what I am saying is that in your first 90 days of building your coaching business, content is not your highest leverage activity. If you are just starting out, if you don't already have an existing audience, content is not your highest leverage activity. Conversation is. So if I were starting today, I would spend my first 30 days not posting and creating content and, building up a content library. I would spend it talking to people, and I would spend it talking to as many people as I could through as many vehicles as I could. I would spend it with as many people as I could find who had the problem that I am positioned to solve. And I would make offers. I would make imperfect offers, early stage, still figuring it out offers. I would make offers that would get better with every conversation, but I'd be making offers because it's offers that produce income. Content produces awareness, and awareness without an offer is just a platform. It's just a platform, and it's just something else that you feel like you need to do in your business. And here's the thing about that first conversation that I don't think gets talked about enough. Because that first conversation, it does not have to be with a stranger. Like, who said your first discovery call, sales call, consultation call, whatever it is, strategy call, whatever it is that you call it, who said that it had to be with somebody that you don't know? It doesn't have to be with somebody who found you through Instagram or a Facebook ad. Who said that? Like, who said that? Your first client, honestly, is almost always someone who is already in your life. Like, think about someone who goes to cosmetology school and they open their beauty shop or their salon, right? Their first clients are typically who? Family, friends, somebody in their network, people they've gone to school with, their sorority sisters. They're usually somebody they know. And it's no different in your coaching business. It's no different, I would say, in any business, as a matter of fact. Your first client is almost always someone who is already in your life. She's a former colleague who has been asking you for career advice for years. She's a friend from your professional network who keeps reaching out to you about the same problem. She's someone in your community who has watched you navigate something that they're currently stuck in. Your network, y'all, is not a waiting room, it's a client pool. Now, I will say this about your network. It's often, always, also the most uncomfortable place to start because you're nervous. But let me tell you something about your network. Your network will believe in you because you've already built trust with them. And they used to say people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. Well, your network already knows you. They already like you, hopefully, and they already trust you. And in some ways, depending upon what it is that you decide you're going to help people with, hopefully they see you as an expert already doing it because you're already doing it. And so the thing about it is you don't need a single follower to start having conversations with people who are already in your network. You don't need to have one single follower for that. So that's the first thing I would do. I would talk to people, and I wouldn't focus so much on building an audience or building content. The second thing that I would do differently is ask for help sooner and stop treating every task in my business like it required me personally, y'all. I'm someone who figures things out. Like, that is genuinely one of my strengths, and I own it. I am resourceful. I am capable. I can learn almost anything if I put my mind to it. And that strength became one of my biggest liabilities in the early days of building my business because I applied it to everything. tech setup, graphic design, email marketing, website, copy, video editing, systems and automation, all of it. Y'all, I can do all the things, okay? I am a Jackson of all trades, okay? Um, and the reason that I was doing it all and that I can do it all is because I know how to figure it out. And also because it felt cheaper than paying someone else to do it. And here's the thing that I didn't account for: the cost of my own time. Somebody drop in the chat time. Time is money. Every hour I spent troubleshooting a tech platform was an hour I was not coaching, not creating content, not having sales conversations, not doing any of the things that move a business forward. I'm talking right now, y'all, about a CEO mindset. If you are truly calling yourself and you want to rise into the space of being the CEO of your business, you have to start to learn how to spend your time on income and revenue generating activities. Time is money. Every hour you spend troubleshooting a tech platform is an hour you're not coaching, is an hour you're not creating content, is an hour you're not having sales conversation, is an hour you're not doing any of the things that will move your business forward. Every hour you spend designing your own graphics is an hour you're not refining your offer or building your framework or talking to a prospective client. These are things that I did. And yes, I was being productive, and I was being productive at the wrong things. I optimized for saving money while spending the resource that was far, or that is far more scarce and far more valuable than money. It's time, my time, your time. Somebody drop time in the chat, because the fact of the matter is, not every task in your business requires you. If you are taking notes, I want you to write that down and I want you to personalize it. The fact of the matter is that not every task in my business requires me. Some of them require your thinking. Some of them require your voice and your perspective and your experience, but a whole lot of them just require that they get done. Like, it's literally a checklist of things that need to get done. And those are the ones that were eating all of my hours. So if I were starting today, I would get real honest, and I'd get honest real early about which tasks in my business require me specifically. The coaching, 100%, that's me. Creating content from my own perspective and my own experience, like these daily lives that I do here, 100% that's me. Because those things, they can't get outsourced or automated or handed off, because it requires me. Everything else gets handled by the most efficient means available. And in this day and time, in 2026, that means AI can handle a significant portion of the operational work that used to eat entire days. It means templates replace starting from scratch every single time. It means that I protect my highest leverage hours and I stop spending my limited time on things that don't require me specifically, because my job as the CEO is to be spending my time doing income and revenue generating activities. Somebody drop time in the chat. And here's what I want you to take from this: the business that scales isn't the one built entirely by one person doing everything. The business that scales, it's the one built by one person doing the right things and getting smart about everything else. And the sooner you make that distinction in your business, the more time you free up for the work that only you can do. And I also want to say something about the guilt that comes with this. because a lot of women feel like they should be doing it all. They feel like asking for help or using tools or delegating even the smallest tasks, that it's somehow a sign that they can't handle it. And that's not a business belief. That is a hustle culture belief. And it's costing you hours that you're not getting back. Now, I just talked about two of the three things that I would do differently if I were starting my coaching business today. The first one is I wouldn't spend a whole lot of time creating content and focused on building an audience if I didn't have to. And then the second thing was just being much more mindful of my time and the tasks that I should be focused on in my business. So here's the third thing. The third thing I would do differently is invest in the right support earlier instead of trying to figure everything out on my own first. And I want to be honest with y'all about something. I am someone who learns by doing. I read, I research, I watch, I implement. And for a long time, I believed that approach was enough to and apply it to everything, that I could figure out the path to a sustainable coaching business the same way I had figured out literally everything else in my life through my own effort, through applied consistency, and over enough time. And technically, I could have, and technically, you can eventually, right? The long way, and with a lot of detours that I didn't need to take and that you don't need to take. And also, let's not forget about this, it comes with mistakes that cost months of momentum. And you could do it with the pivots that were necessary because you don't have someone in your corner who had already been where you're trying to go. And here's what I know now: the right support doesn't just give you information. We have enough information. Oh my gosh. Information is coming at us all day, every day, even in our sleep. So, the right support does not just give you information. The right support gives you a fast path through the information that you already have. You can get information on your own. The right support, it gives you a framework that makes the decisions clearer and the execution faster. The right support, it gives you accountability that makes the follow through more consistent. That's what the right support does. Let me fix my camera. And the right support, it can give you a community of people who are in the same season of building, so you don't feel like you're doing it alone. So you're not second guessing yourself at every turn. The coaches that I've watched build the fastest are almost never the ones who figure it out by themselves, including myself. I have spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, coaching products, templates, guides, you name it. The coaches who build the fastest, they're the ones who find the right support at the right time and let that support compress their learning curve. They invest in a shortcut, not because they're not capable of figuring it out alone, but because they understand that their time is worth more than the money they were spending to protect it. And here's the thing I want to say that I think is important for professional women specifically. We are trained to be self-sufficient. We solve problems, we figure it out. We don't ask for help until we have exhausted every other option. And that training serves us extremely well in our professional roles. But it does not serve in entrepreneurship, because in entrepreneurship, the willingness to invest in support before you've proven you need it is not a weakness, it is a strategy. And the women who understand this and they figure this out early, they build faster than the ones who have to learn it the hard way, the way that I did. If I were starting today, I would invest in support before I felt like I needed it. If I were starting today, I would invest in support before I felt like I needed it, before I had proven to myself that I could do it alone. I would invest before I had spent 6 months learning the hard way what someone with more experience already knew. I'd find the framework, I'd get in the room with the people, and I'd let the support accelerate what I was capable of building on my own. So let's talk about what to actually do with all of this information that I just gave you. Because if today landed for you, if you heard yourself in any of those scenarios, the Blueprint Advantage is where I would point you right now. And the Blueprint Advantage is my mini course, and it's built to give you the foundational framework I wish I had when I started. You'll get clarity on who you serve. You'll learn how to structure your first offer. You will get insight into positioning that makes the right person immediately recognize herself in the thing that you're building. And you'll also get the pricing foundation that we talked about on Wednesday. If you missed Wednesday, you can go back and watch the replay on my channel, youtube.com/iNickScott. And the thing about the Blueprint Advantage is it's not a course about getting ready. We talked about ready too this week, didn't we? The Blueprint Advantage is a course about getting clear so you can stop circling and stop building from a solid foundation. If I were starting today, the Blueprint Advantage is exactly where I would start. The link for this mini course is in the description if you're watching on YouTube. If you are watching somewhere else, you can go to my website at herincomeedit.com and get more information about the Blueprint Advantage. And here's the thing about this entire conversation. Hindsight is only valuable if you let it shorten someone else's path. Remember at the beginning of this conversation, I did just a little bit of talking about how part of my mission is to ensure that I give the advice to you that no one ever gave me. And hindsight is only my hindsight is only valuable if I allow it to shorten your path. And that's exactly what today's conversation was about. Because you do not have to earn every lesson the hard way. Everything doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't. You don't have to spend 6 months building an audience before you make your first offer. You don't. You don't have to do everything yourself. You don't have to figure it out yourself. You don't have to figure it all out by yourself before you invest in support. You don't have to do that because the shortcuts exist. And they exist so you can use them. Right? Y'all still with me? How y'all feeling about it? Those are the three things that I would do differently. Like I said, there's a whole lot of things that I would do differently, but those are just three of the things that I would do differently. I want to thank y'all for rocking with me for Nick at Noon. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining. If you're joining live, if you're watching live, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you are watching the replay, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you for spending a little bit of your time with me. If you have any questions, I want to invite you just to drop them in the chat or in the comments if you're watching the replay, and I can dialogue with you a little bit. So I'm not seeing anything coming through live, but like I said, if there's anything that comes to mind as you watch the replay, drop it in the comments and I will get to you. This is Nick at Noon. I am live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook as well, Monday through Friday at noon Mountain Time. So come back, tell a friend, tell that friend to tell a friend, and come get this good that I'm giving over here. Come back on Monday. I want y'all to have a really good weekend because let me give you just a little bit of a preview. You know, on Monday we do mindset, right? So on Monday, I have something that I want to get into about the mindset shift that separates the coaches who build something sustainable from the ones who burn out before they even get there. And if you are ready to stop doing this the hard way, if you are ready to take a shortcut and start to accelerate your business, the Blueprint Advantage, the link for the Blueprint Advantage is in the description, or you can visit my website at herincomeedit.com and have a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday again, and I will see y'all on Monday. Bye.